In another tutorial, I showed you guys how to make these sunflower granny squares. And it was a remake of an old video. I just had a request to redo it in HD, so I did. And I had so much fun making them, I just kept making them. And I ended up making this sweater for my daughter. And it's really easy. It takes, for this size, it takes 20 squares. I used 3 the green, and I used 2 of the yellow skeins, and 1 skein of the brown. So get 3 or even 4 of this color that you want to use here, and at least 2 of those and 1 of this. Now my daughter is 6 going on 7, and this size granny square, which is just a little bit more than 6 inches, was perfect to make a size sweater for her. If you want to adjust the sizes, you can make more granny squares, obviously. Try to stay in even numbers. So don't just add a 3rd row, try to add 4th. And for size, because this granny square is the size that it is, you're limited on size, particularly for just this square. But if you want to make another granny square sweater, you can do that using the same method as I'm going to show you in this video. And you can just change the size of the sweater by changing the size of the granny square that you use. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to use these sunflower granny squares to make a sweater for a child. Like I said, my daughter is 6 going on 7, so this is for her size. Now I'm not going to show you how to make the granny square because I already just filmed that tutorial. So I'm just going to click the annotation here, and you can see that video, or check in the description box below the video. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I made this granny square. Now if you're making this size, make 20 of these granny squares. And how you want to lay them out is, I had it in a set of 4 here and then 4 in the back, so a total of 8 granny squares. And I sewed them together, and I'm going to show you how I did that. Now for this tutorial, you're going to need, besides the worsted weight yarn I mentioned, you're going to need a 5mm hook, size H hook, and a 4mm hook, which is, I think, a size F. Sorry, size E. Had to look that one up. So you need a size E and a size H, or a size 5mm or size 4mm. The 4mm you're going to be using to make the bottom double crochets. My daughter said it was kind of choking, you know, on the front and the back area. She didn't want me to put a border around the edge, so for her I didn't do that, but you're more than welcome to do that. But she requested that I didn't, but I did put double crochet around the very ends of my sleeves and at the very bottom using the 4mm hook. But I was sewing them together by crocheting using my 5mm hook. So let me go ahead and grab my yarn and stuff, and I will show you what you need to do. I don't want to use this dark stuff. Before I started using my granny squares, I did hide all my tails. So you may want to do that for your granny squares too. And also, before starting your slip knot, leave a little extra. That way you can hide this as well. You want to make sure that none of your tails are showing. So let's see. So what I did is I laid out my 4 granny squares like this, and you want to sew going along this way. You want to connect your 4 granny squares, and I went ahead and I got my other 4 and did the same thing. So I have a line of 8 granny squares, you know, 2 sets of 4. That's going to be the front and the back belly part. We will have 2 more we'll add to the top. And how you connect them is, sorry for the noise, there's still construction over there. So you want to fold it in half where the back side of the granny square is facing you, and you'll do that for the other two as well. So you should have a line of 4 where the 2 good sides are facing each other and you have the back side facing you. And what you're going to do is you're going to not go in through the very middle area here, but you're going to be using one of the chains, because in every corner you do a chain of 2. So I'm going to put not in this chain, but in this chain, the top chain. I'm going to go under only 1 loop, which is this back loop, and I'm going to leave the front loop alone, and it's going to create this kind of texture. See these right here? This is the part where I did my sewing, but you can see there's a ridge here and here where these are the front loops. It creates a nice little border going. It's very nice looking. So you're only going to be going through one of those loops, and then you're going to do the same thing for this side. Since this is the front side, you won't be going in this front loop, but you'll grab the back loop. Now I'm just going to slip stitch my color on like that. Then if you go like this, you can see those back loops are basically popping off the top. So it's very easy to grab this. And then remember, this front loop is down now. So you're going to skip that one and just grab the back. It's going to be much easier. The top loops that you'll be using here are the back loops of each square. If you take a look at your own, you grab that top, and you're just going to be slip stitching. Make sure that your slip stitching isn't tight, or it will pull your granny squares, you know, like this. It won't lay flat and square like it's supposed to. So just do this relaxed, not loose, because you do want it to be a good sew. You don't want your granny squares to pull apart. And also use the same color that you made your granny squares out of. I'm just using this pink just to show you on camera what I'm doing. See, it's very easy to grab back loops of each. And you're going to be slip stitching all the way until you reach that chain in the corner again. Here I am again on the corner. See, again, you have 2 chains that make up your corner. You'll only be using this top one here to make your final slip stitch. Now you want to grab your next set of 2, and you're going to do the same thing. Hope I'm not too close here. You're going to do the same thing. Find that top of the 2 chains. Find the top one again. Slip stitch into that one. Find its equal on the other side of the other granny. And slip stitch. And see how it's kind of loose here? So it's kind of a big stitch here. If you just pull and tighten, you can tighten that space. Then you'll continue to single crochet all the way down until you have all 8 of your granny squares connected. And when you open it up, see, you have these 2 pieces that are together. So get the 4 of those connected, and you will have the bottom part of your sweater done. So you'll have this whole part together. You'll have this part open and this part open. You just have this connection, but you have all 8 connected. So when you make your connection here, which will basically put all 8 of these together, starting your row, I made my connection here, and then I just did up, sewed up this side, and I just waited to do the other one later. And then you grab your next set of squares. You only want to grab 2, and you'll put them on the top. You're here, which is where the arm is going to be going, but you need to make the chest part first. So you crochet up, and then now you're going to be putting only this one granny square here. So you'll fold it like this, and then you will work your way across and crochet only this. You'll crochet only this granny to this granny, just across the top. You don't go through, you know, the back granny here. You're only going to attach this granny to this granny. Don't attach it from here to the back, because then it'll close this space. So you're only going to grab this one and this one here, and you should be here under the arm here. Of course, not for you, you don't have an arm yet. But then you will crochet here, and then you'll grab the other granny, do the same, crochet here. And then now you have your first front piece. You should have on one side 6 granny squares connected. Now, I want you to go ahead, since you're at this point, and grab your next 2 granny squares. And you're going to just continue by connecting this one, and you'll have another one underneath. So your 2 will be like this. So you have your 2 granny squares like folded over like this. And you want to continue by adding your next 2 granny squares like this. And you're here now. And you're going to crochet these 2 together all the way here so that they open up like this. This is the first 2 granny squares of your sleeve. And then you'll do it again. You'll grab your next 2 granny squares, and you'll just continue to crochet down. And then you will have your 4 granny squares that make up your sleeve. Done on this side. Now, once you are here at the end, and you have, of course, this is open and unsewn. You can cut your yarn, and then you can move it over to the top side of the sleeve and start to crochet these top part together, which will create your sleeve here, except for the split, you know, that's open. You have it sewn here. And then you can flip your sweater over, and then you want to start doing the grannies on your back. So what I did is I got my next set of grannies like this and put them here, and I'm here on the top. So what you want to do is you want to add your granny, and then you will slip stitch only to halfway. See how this one is only halfway? You'll crochet this to halfway, and then you can cut your yarn. And then come down here to this bottom part of the granny, and then you can start attaching this granny to the other granny. It's entirely up to you where and how you want to sew first. But just make sure that you do not sew these 2 at the same time, you know, I mean together, because you have to fit an arm through here. So you have to keep that part open. So you can attach your granny here and sew it halfway, or you could cut your yarn and come here and start to sew your grannies on the back part here and here down this direction, and then start your other sleeve. It's up to you. Just make sure you don't sew those together, because you have to have an arm go in there. And I will show you some pictures, because it's going to be a lot easier to see how this is working. with the pictures. I've probably been, when I edit this, I'll be having them all through it. So I'm sure you've already been seeing some of them already. So after I did that, I got all my pieces sewn together. Then I grabbed my 4mm hook, size E hook, and I attached it on one of my bottom of my sweater, just like this. You attach it the exact same way, always leaving a bit of a tail there to be worked in. And let me get a little closer. I prefer nowadays to, instead of slip stitching and chaining 2, I do what's called a double crochet attachment. When I'm doing my double crochets, you just yarn over. It's kind of a funky tail there, so just try to ignore it. You just yarn over, and I'm holding my loop with my finger, because if not, it's just going to unravel like that. So you want to hold it with your finger and then yarn over, then find that stitch that you want to go in, and then insert your hook and pull up a loop. And then you can just go through 2 and go through 2. Now for this one, I actually, at the bottom, I went through using both my loops. So I didn't just go through one. This is a chain. So this one's going to be only one. But for the rest, I'm actually going to go under both loops, and I'm going to do a double crochet. So you're going to double crochet going through each stitch all the way around, and it's going to add a border around the bottom that's going to be a little tighter because you're using one hook smaller. It's very important that you use at least one hook smaller so that the bottom of the sweater doesn't come out like a bell. It you know, comes in and keeps the air inside, and it's nice and tight and warm. And I did the exact same thing here on this side too. But the one thing on my my sleeves were here where it was connected seemed to be a little lower than the other ones. So I actually had to come to this side, and I think I did a single crochet just to even that off, and then I reattached my yarn and went around. It may not be the same for you, but I guess I didn't sew all the way up like I should have. So I had to do something to make it a little bit more even, and it still isn't so even here on this side. But I did what I could. But just do your best to do one single crochet and you stitch around and see how it kind of pulls in here. It's not flat like that. It's kind of in like this because you used a smaller hook. And it's also going to grab around the arm better. And again, I didn't do anything around the neck just because my daughter didn't want me to. But on both sides, as I showed you on this side, I only did halfway on this. I did halfway on the other side too. So this is basically a size of a granny square on this side and a size of a granny square on this side. And then she pulls her head through. This kind of material, worsted weight yarn, is not so soft on the skin as it is, and not to mention there's holes and stuff in it. So she wears a shirt underneath it when she wears it. So it's just like a pullover sweater to keep her a little extra warm during the cold days. And that is it. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions that you might not have been able to see something so clearly on the video, because it is much more difficult to show sometimes a big item on such a small little area of the camera. But I have pictures and stuff on my site, and the links and everything else that you'll need for the tutorial on how to make the granny square, and everything else you'll need. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, you can check me out on Facebook. I have a Facebook business page that I share the work that I've done, and I even share other people's free links to other people's patterns too. So it can be a good source to find some new patterns. Also, I'm on Pinterest. Pinterest. I'm not really sure exactly how that's said. I always say that wrong. But I'm on there, and I have my own crochet board, so you can always check out all the free links and stuff there. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please don't forget to share my videos because it helps me so much. Thank you so much for watching.